Now I want to go through a brief description of the classes that we did in this program. Exploring math. Now, to go back a little bit, we staffed, being a summer school and being a teacher's college, we had lots of teachers that were coming back who were experienced teachers but had never fulfilled their full requirement for their certification. And they had to do a student teaching experience. So we took applications and staffed our program with student teachers, with these experienced student teachers. The first day of the math class, she had 20 students. And she had taught mathematics previously, so she told them what she was going to teach them. The next day, or maybe it was even that afternoon, she had one. One student showed up. And she came to us in tears and said, "What did I do wrong?" And so Mel and I said, "Well, did you ask them what they would want to learn?" And she said, "Do you think they would know?" I'm sure they would know. You know? So I said, tomorrow morning, we'll spread the word that you want to talk with them about what they would like to learn. And you would facilitate it. Well, she had 20 kids show up. Now, she said, "What would you like to learn?" A little third grade girl said, "I would like to learn geometry." Well, you normally don't teach geometry to third graders. But everybody said, "What's geometry?" A lot of kids didn't even know what geometry was. So the teacher drew pictures on the board of what geometry was. And everybody said, "That really sounds interesting. They would like to learn geometry." And so the teacher said, "Well, how can we make it interesting for you? How can we make it an active thing?" See, she was learning our philosophy. And a fourth grade girl said, "My father says that shooting pool is pure geometry." And the teacher said, "Your father is teaching you how to shoot pool?" She says, "Yes." She says, "I'm little, but I have a step that I can get up on. And there's the bridge you can use. And, you know." And she said, "How would we do it?" And one of the boys said, "Well, if we held a piece of thread on the cue ball and put another piece and then stretched out the thread so that it was on the ball we were going to hit, and we stretched it then to the cushion and used a protractor to judge where the angle should be that we were going to use, then we could shoot the cue ball then and prove our theory." And she said, "Well, then we'd have to be able to measure the angle. So we'd need protractors." So they made a list of things that they needed. Mel and I got them. I made arrangements with a local pool hall to get 4 tables. He had 20, but we only needed 4. And he said he'd be glad to give us the tables. Of course, he was envisioning, you know, us teaching the kids how to shoot pool. He's going to have future clients. Little did he know. Little did he know. The first day of class went just marvelously. Everybody was naming angles. We had a portable blackboard there. We had the list of the angles and the names of them, and it was just marvelous. They started using a very fine cotton thread, and they put blue chalk on it, and they do snap lines. And the owner showed them how to hold a cue stick properly and how to stroke it, and they practiced that because they needed to be good pool shooters in order to prove their theory. We ended up with over 90 kids learning geometry, and we used the whole pool hall. The teachers that were out of students became assistants, and they learned to shoot pool, and they learned to measure the angles, and kids had to record it, and it was a very strong scientific experience. This was typical of how the program went. Those kids will never forget geometry. And that's what we were working toward. Now, we had basically 13 classes that we did. One was the exploring math and the pool tables. One was creative writing, not very exciting, except that the kids wrote poetry and plays. They actually wrote plays, and they performed them for us. Little one-act plays, but they were just marvelous little things. Of course, the science was involved in shooting pool, and the woman who taught it also fished. So she took the kids out and scientifically approached fishing, measuring the water for temperature, measuring the depth of the pond in different places, setting hooks at the different temperature levels with bobbers. When the fish bit, we could tell what level they were at, so we could put more hooks at that level. When we caught the fish, we dissected them so they could see the heart. They could see all the bodily functions that involved in a living being. They opened up the stomach to see what the fish ate so that they could pick a proper bait. You see, all learning, if taught properly, is interrelated. Look at all just the brief description I did of the science, look at all the different sciences that we touched on. Now, okay. The other classes we did, was typing. Parents complained that the journals that the kids wrote were full of misspelled words. And so we couldn't figure out how to make spelling interesting until one of the kids came up with the idea of typing. And you start out with 3-letter words and go to 4-letter words, 5-letter words, 6-letter words, and you learn to spell through typing. All right. I'm Roger Armstrong. I was a psychic child. And the next video will cover the rest of the classes. That would be an ideal curriculum for the Indigo child.